How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to Wildhook Adventures. We're going to show you guys a couple of our catfish setups. We've been asked a couple of times by some of our subscribers, and we're going to show you guys a little bit of different setups that we like to use. There's two in particular that I really go to. Is this one I just learned. This is a rattler, kind of a bobber in a way. Well, it is a bobber. And then we have a 9-knot hook. Tie it to a piece of your fishing string, to a swivel, and then you have your weights on the other side. I've been looking for these clips for a very long time. I hadn't been able to find them. Every time I go to the store, they're always out, but I was able to find them. And we're gonna show you guys a couple different setups. Always remember to have different size hooks, different size weights. That way you can fish whatever area you're fishing in accordingly. I mean, you might need a heavier weight for the rivers, or just to get out farther in the lakes. You never know what you might need, so always make sure to carry a different variety of sizes and hooks and in weights. So let me show you guys how we do certain setups. All right, you guys, I'm going to show you guys our first little setup here that we like to use a lot. I tied the string to the chair just so it wouldn't move on me. I cut about a 20-inch leader. That's going to go on after I put on the swivel. So first we're going to pick our weight. For this one, I'm just going to put on a 3/4 ounce. Slide it onto your main line. Then you slide on a swivel. A bead. Slide on your bead, and then you put on your swivel. And this is one of my favorite knots to use. Just pinch your line, wrap it 6 times. I like to call it a noose just because when it tightens up, it's a noose. It looks like a noose, I should say. Run it through your loop right there, and then run it back through your other loop that you just made, and then tighten your line. And that right there is a very tough knot. Me, for extra security, I always like to tie 2 extra knots after. I know my knot isn't going to come off, but it just gives me a peace of mind when I'm out there casting heavy weight or big baits. So if you guys don't want to do that extra knot, you guys don't have to, but I like to. Like I said, it gives me a peace of mind. And then always remember to carry a sharp knife or some good little scissors with you, just because you can cut off the extras. There it goes again. All right, so then on this one, same thing. We're gonna do the same knot. Just pinch it, go around it 6 times. I like to count just to make sure I get the 6 at least. If I go over 1 or 2, it's okay. Run it through your loops. Tighten up your line. Boom, nice and tight. That isn't going anywhere, but like I said, I always do these extra 2 just because I like to. You don't have to. Oh, that one didn't go through. There we go. Same thing. Just get your sharp knife, clip off the excess. Then you got your swivel, you got your bead, and you got your weight. And then on this one, the reason why I leave it so long is because I like to fold it maybe about 5 to 6 inches, and then pick my favorite hook that I'm going to use for the day, and then you run it through the eye, come back, tie a knot, but don't tighten it all the way, and then run your hook through it. And that right there is going to be a very strong knot as well. And that knot isn't going to go nowhere neither, but I still like to do the extra 2 just in case I didn't tie it tight enough or something. So just like that, cut off your extra, and there you have it. This is called a Santee rig. So You can leave a shorter leader if you guys want. This is the distance that I like to leave when I'm using mine. So when you cast out, your weight runs freely. And so this is able to get pulled by the fish and pull you out of a snag even. It's happened to me a couple times where I get snagged up and the fish will take my bait and he ends up pulling my line out. So there you guys have the first one. So on this one, same thing, tied a piece of string to the chair so you guys can see it nicely stretched out, like if it's holding on by my rod. So on this one, we're gonna put the little clip on, slide it on. These ones come with their own little bead, but it's more like a little rubber. Same thing, put on your swivel, run that down. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Run it through there. Run it through here. Tighten your knot. Just like that. Same thing, trim off your excess. Tie on your leader line. You can use a thicker line if you guys want for your leader. I like to use the same line that I'm using for my whole spool on my reel. So I know some people like to switch it up and go heavier or go lighter. Tighten that up. Clip off your excess. And then on this one, we're going to shorten this one quite a bit just because we have this guy. So we're going to tie this guy on right around there, probably about 6 inches. So we're going to have to trim this down. Throw that aside. Run this guy through there. Same knot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Run it through there. Run it through here. Tighten your line. And boom. There's that one. So then the way this one works is on this clip, you choose the weight you want. So you can go 4, 3, 2. We'll put a 3 ounce weight on this one. Just unhook your clip, put your weight on. If I can get it to slide in. This one's not cooperating. There we go. Put your clip back on. And this one does the same thing as the other one. The weight runs freely. This little rubber pad that it comes with, it acts just like a bead. And then with your swivel, it's able to spin when the fish rolls. And then this one is also called a Santee rig, but I think this one is a Santee catfishing rig. So one of them's just a Santee rig, the other one's a catfishing Santee rig. So there you guys have it. And then this one has a clip at the end, so you can switch out whatever size you want for the hook. I have a 9 on there. That's the size I like to use. If you don't like to use circle hooks, I also like to use the size 2 eagle claws. These actually work really well for channels. I wouldn't recommend using it on a bigger fish like a big blue cat or a flathead. We also use these guys. They're a little bigger. These ones are 3s or 4s, I think. So I like to use different sizes. I mean, just whatever works for you. Circle hooks are good for catch and release, just because if the fish ever swallows it, he doesn't get gut hooked. It hooks him right on the cheek or right on the lip. So there you guys have it for this one. All right, you guys, this one, I heard Chris the other day call it a ditch rig. I've always known it as a chicken rig. You can either tie 1 or 2 knots on this, so maybe 1 or 2 hooks. So what you do is you pinch your line, pick the size of hook you want. On these setups, I like to use a smaller hook. Same thing. Run it through your loop. Tie a knot, but don't tighten it. Run your hook through it. And then you tighten your line. There you go. So then you give yourself a little leader. Tie it up, just like that. And just so I can make sure that that leader isn't gonna run on me, I do an extra knot, just like that. You can tie two or you can tie one. For this setup, I always go with one, but every now and then I'll tie on two. So then you run your weight on there. Same thing, just tie a knot on there. I go with my fancy little knot that I love to use, my little noose knot. I know it has a different name to it, but that's what I like to call it. Somebody will correct me in the comments. There you guys have it. So, like I said, Chris Flores called this the ditch rig. I've always known it as the chicken rig. You can put two of these setups about that far apart from each other, put different types of bait, see if anything bites, but this is what I like to use. So there you guys have it. These are our catfish setups that we use all the time. On our website, we're gonna upload some pictures of some different catfishing setups that I also downloaded from the internet that I had been learning from. This style right here with this little guy, I just learned it not too long ago with watching Chris Flores' videos, because I never knew what these guys were for. I always fished with this setup, so I started learning about this guy, and that's why I started looking on the internet what they were used for. So there you guys have it. Another thing we like to use is 20-pound mono. This is what I use on my smaller catfishing poles, the tri-lean big game mono. That's what I use on my smaller poles. And on my Muddy River catfishing poles, I use the 65-pound tri-lean, but this one is braided. So I use the braided line for the big poles. I use the 20-pound mono for the smaller poles. For those of you who want to know what we use, this is what I recommend. If you want to go bigger, you can go bigger in pounds. It's your guys' choice, but this is what I like to use. So there you guys have it. We also have our logbook. I don't know if you guys have checked it out yet. I know we talk about it quite a bit. So if you guys haven't seen it yet, go to our website. We have them on there. There's a link down in the description. That way you guys can either buy a book or go onto our website and download a free page. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed.